before. He's a member, as you guys have the Made in Britain.
Engineers are getting older, and it's filling that skills gap that's the key to it.
Yeah, we do a lot of luxury hospitality projects throughout the UK and throughout the world in different areas.
So let's go back and talk about the whole manufacturing process and what happens. I want to know what it's made out of, how it starts, through to the finishing process. Talk me through it. There must be a few times where things don't go great or something's gone wrong. Come on, I want to hear a few tales. I want to hear a few uncovered Focus SB tales. Like I said, the British manufacturing thing, that's why I reached out to you guys. This could have got those plates made anywhere. But like now when we're doing export, to like you guys handle that, but we've got like by region now. We've got America because they want to tell their clients these plates are made in England. Hi guys, Rich from Art Smart. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Today we're down in Hastings with our friends at Focus SB, who not only make one of the best socket and switch accessory ranges on the market, but also help and manufacture our Phase 4 range for us too. So today I'm joined by two of the top guys within the business, which is...
Gary Stevens, I'm Managing Director.
Managing Director. I told you we're joined by two of the big cheese in the business. And yourself?
Duncan Ray, Head of Strategic Partnerships.
Strategic Partnerships. So with us being a strategic partnership, myself and Duncan have many chats, mainly over teams we've actually had lots of chats with these guys on teams over the last 18 months, maybe even 2 years. And today has been the first time we met face to face. So it's actually been very nice. And we feel like I know you both already.
Absolutely.
Between you and LinkedIn, both a dab and on LinkedIn. So let's go through the Focus SB story. I mean, again, as I always get with these podcasts, I kind of knew you was a big business, but even coming down here today, we punched in your head office postcode. We come in, we're approached by this massive unit. We got there and you went, yeah, we're doing the podcast in one of our other units, Rich.
Yeah.
Our other units. And then we've got two more up here. So how do we end up with all of this? You know, it's
a growing empire.
Yeah.
So we started life off, in Hailsham actually, and then moved back into Hastings. But the main factory that you went to, just down the road there, that's where most of the manufacturing goes on. So we've got all our main presses down there. We've got our finishing down there. And the other two factories, one is assembly, finished goods and that sort of thing. The other one, this one that we're sat in right now, was the most recently acquired one. So we've had this about 6 years now. And it was mainly taken on to create some space down at the main factory for new machinery and to move some of the heavy presses up to here and just gearing up for the future, really, extra capacity, etc. So that's why we've got three. Ideally, we'd like to be under one roof.
Of course. I said to Duncan before, you've been lucky, if anything, that at least the three are on the same estate rather than in different areas or in different counties. So, yeah.
I mean, it works as efficiently as we can make it work. And you know, as you've seen, it's only kind of literally...
It's walking distance. It's literally walking distance.
Yeah, and most people do walk it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the green environment that we're in at the moment.
Yeah, ticking them green credentials.
We're very, very fortunate. Actually, most of the staff and the workforce actually live within the local area and local community. So having the three factories on the same estate and the same road is very, very beneficial from that side of things. So we're maintaining the local community effect as well.
Yeah, nice. No, it's good. Now, I haven't actually got to have a full tour of the factory. We've saved it for this afternoon for the video that'll be coming with this. But I just know what I'm in for when I get over there. Because where we are today in this boardroom, so it's a bit of a showroom kind of facility, really, isn't it? Because we've got all the different finishes on display, all the different ranges. And what was kind of the focus with this space?
Well, the thing is, with this space, we like to bring people down to the factory. We like to show people what we do. And generally speaking, and hopefully you'll witness this later, once they've been around the factory, they think, oh, now we understand. Now we understand what you do. And the only thing missing from all of that kind of the factory tour bit was what actually comes out at the end of it.
Product.
So they can see it come in as sheet material. They can see it being pressed out. They can see, us finishing it, they can see us assembling things, but they don't actually see the actual finished product. So hence we created this space, for a bigger meeting room, and it just worked out, that it was a good space to have, but also to show people and actually what we do. So we've got around the walls here, we've got lots of different products to show people exactly what the end product looks like.
Yeah, and the other advantage of having this facility here, being able to show people, is we get asked the question a lot: do you actually manufacture in the UK? Are you actually a real UK manufacturer? We have the ability then to bring people here to see the showroom, but actually see the manufacturing facility and say, yes, we are a genuine British manufacturer. Actually come see the facilities and ask people, we'll ask other companies to do the same. Actually, when you come and see the facilities, people then understand, wow, yeah, we didn't realise.
It's not just British manufacturing, it is end to end. You are literally doing every component for your product. Because I didn't know, Phase 4 is a member, as you guys, of the Made in Britain, Made in Britain mark. Now, the Made in Britain mark, and something to be classed Made in Britain, has to be assembled in Britain.
Yeah.
And that's in general, not just with them out. That is a general thing. Something has to be assembled in Britain. It could be physically manufactured elsewhere. As long as it's assembled in Britain, it can be classed as Made in Britain.
Yeah, absolutely.
But this is true British engineering. The machines in there, the stamps, they scream British manufacturing.
Yeah, the ones we just switched off. So
the ones we had to switch off to do this. Because they're stamping the metal like
And you'll see in the factory tour later, you'll see the real skilled engineers and the skilled metal finishers and the assembly people and staff we have here. Actual British skilled workers working on British made products.
Yeah, and do you know what it is for me, probably from my engineer background, you obviously have to maintain all these machines, and you'll probably have an in-house maintenance team that are maintaining the machines. And we've done a couple of these, and you go around this factory, I think we did Doncaster cables, and it was like, oh well, him over there, that's his granddad, and that's his son, and that's his son's son, and literally this guy's been maintaining these machines for 40 years. And I did actually see a bit of, like a meme on Facebook or something that was like about a shipbuilder, and it was like, gone in to fix this machine, and nobody else could fix it, and he just tapped his hammer and put in a £10,000 invoice, and he said, "It's not fixing with the machine; it's knowing where to tap."
Absolutely. And it's the same here. We've got exactly the same here. One of the things that we're very conscious of is the fact that we manufacturing in general, is a mature business, and engineers are getting older, and it's filling that skills gap. That's
literally because they're retiring the true engineers.
Absolutely. I mean, my background, I was an apprentice, so I started life off as an apprentice. So I've got a passion for apprenticeships. We've introduced a number of apprentices into this business. I want to get more people, young people, through this business, picking up those skills, because if we don't,
dying out.
It's dying. Yeah, and that's a big problem, not just for us, but for UK PLC, because manufacturing is important to this country.
So Duncan's going to have to get off and start making some strategic partnerships with the new colleges.
Well, it's interesting. Actually, that's one of the things we've actually started doing over the past 2 years.
There you go.
It's actually, It's actually engaging with the local colleges, engaging with the other employers in the area, because there are other niche manufacturers in the area, engaging with them and saying, actually, what do we need as a group, as skill sets for the local area? Because it doesn't just benefit you; you need to benefit from the whole area upskilling. And one of the things that we're very keen on as a business is working with the local business community to upskill the complete area around here, because that only benefits our talent pool or choosing from on a long-term basis.
Yeah. See, for me, and this is why, like, take this out of it, take Phase 4 out of it, why we use your products anyway, because I can see a good business. You can see a good product, but for me, it's a really cheesy saying, but it's so true, isn't it? That people don't buy from businesses, people buy from people. And that is a fact. So for me, seeing how you guys work, and you can tell, yes, of course, our business needs to make a profit, but it's not just purely financially oriented. It's the whole journey, what we're doing, how are we leaving Focus SP's legacy, all that kind of stuff. And you can kind of feel that from this business. Even more so, you just said about doing that. And even I seen a post on LinkedIn, because there's the business operations, but there's doing things to help the wider community doing things. And even, was it last night, it was at a event for manufacturing?
I was invited to a round table with Make UK. And some of their economists and such like, they've just just about to publish a report on the future, the next 6 months or whatever it might be, and so they wanted to get a group of people from manufacturing and some logistics people as well in there, and talk about what's going to be the main effects on business over the next 6 to 12 months. What's it like from your side of the table? What do you need from us? Because they've got close links with government, so it's useful to have those leverage on those kind of people that we've got relationships with.
Yeah, and sort of feeding into that, where we go into new territories and different markets for our products, like we did with our venture into the Far East, engaging with the international community, so like the Department for International Trade and the China British Business Council, those sort of authorities, and actually having input and be able to influence, if you like, or have some level of influence into policy. And that's great for a business our size, an SME of our size. That actually, we want to sing and we want to dance about British manufacturing and what we can achieve, and what the sort of projects that our products go into only highlights the whole brand and the whole brand Britain. And that's good for all of us.
I know. When you told me this before, I couldn't believe it. So, I mean, again, I knew about Focus SP. When we sat down and had our discussion, because what I was looking for with the Phase 4 is we wanted to use a manufacturer, wanted a British manufacturer, but true British manufacturer to make the plates.
Yep.
Again, I could have shipped them off anyway. But I wanted to keep it there. I wanted to change how they're made. We reached out to you guys, having respect to you for your accessories anyway. And then you said, yeah, we're happy to work with you on this, but we've got one term to the agreement. And I said, all right, what's that? And he said, we can handle all exporting to the Far East. I was like, knock yourself out, lads. The reason for that is because I wasn't aware such a large proportion of the business is done out there. In fact, we've actually got somebody sat in the room today who's come over for a couple of months, got Stella, so she's come over. What does she do for you over in China?
So in China, Stella works for our partners, Cursor, out there. She works on the admin side, essentially the link between the two businesses, working with the senior management out there, doing the admin. She's here to learn more about the business, about how we operate, and really joining the relationship a lot closer, so that things become easier between the two businesses. So there's not that barrier in between that a lot of businesses face where they try to do it themselves and go out there. The interaction then is more deeper between the two businesses. And by doing that, obviously we then become more involved and we generically win more projects and we become better known.
And the inspiration for the whole kind of Chinese venture really was triggered by Brexit, believe it or not.
Right.
We knew the vote was coming. We all knew the vote was coming. None of us kind of expected it to go the way it went. So we sat down as a management team and said, look, what happens if it goes, if we vote for Brexit? How's that going to affect us as a business? We don't do an awful lot of business in Europe, purely because of the regulations. As you know, when you go on holiday, you have to take your adapters with you.
Everything's very different in Europe.
Yeah, and each country in Europe have got different standards. So to approach any of those countries, then you've got to invest quite a lot of money just for that one country. So we thought, well, that doesn't affect us. We don't buy a lot so we don't sell a lot into Europe. We don't buy a lot from Europe in terms of components or raw materials and such like. So what about the markets we sell into? And that's the construction market. How's that going to be affected if we vote Brexit? And we felt that could well slow down the UK market, materials, labour, et cetera, et cetera. So we thought, well, okay, we need to increase our exports. We're a very UK-centric business. So probably about 2% of our turnover was export at that particular time. And so we said, okay, well, we've got some links already in the Far East. Let's leverage some of those links and let's see what the market looks like in China. And it was quickly, it became quickly apparent to us that there's nothing like this product in China. So we took the plunge and we got some funding. We got some help from the UK government in that respect, and we went out, designed, tooled up for a full range of and had it tested to their standards. And every year now, the Chinese equivalent of the British standards, CQC, have to come over here physically and audit our factories.
Right.
And so we're the only European company in our market to have built a range of products and got them tested to the standards. sell and a license to sell into China. There's lots of companies in our market that manufacture in China and sell in China. None that manufacture outside and sell
back into China.
Like Coles to Newcastle.
I bet the imports into China are absolutely minute.
I mean, sorry, Duncan. Just going on from that, obviously we got in earnest. We started selling probably in 2017, 18, something like that. And it went like a steam train. It started off there. It just went. I'll set them up for you.
Thank you.
But then obviously the thing we said we wouldn't mention, COVID, hit.
No. Cam said I couldn't mention it. You can mention it.
Okay. So it kind of dropped off a cliff immediately. But now it's starting to build back up again. They've still got their issues over there. It's still locked down at the slightest issue.
That's still I was saying there. When she goes back over to China, she's got a quarantine for 10 days.
Yeah. But they're getting there. I mean, still lots of work over there. So it's certainly not doom and gloom. It's still very, very positive for the future. But we always went in it for the long term anyway. And it just so happened that it took off very quickly, didn't it?
Yeah, because we sort of carved a niche sort of immediately for our products. There was very little competition on the custom market for the accessories in China. It was all sort of new and wow to people out there. They're sort of their mind frame is like, well, we have to have it. We want it. It's something different.
Something different.
We're differentiating ourselves. Yeah.
My friend's got it. I don't want it.
Yes.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
I'll have it in every room.
Yeah. And as Gary said, we very quickly won some very prestigious projects out in the Far East that has actually said, well, we need to differentiate ourselves from the competition out here. So who are we going to work with? And this is a product and a brand that actually you put a lot of building into trust and brand name, etc. So building those relationships and building that trust in the brand. And there's a real clamour for British manufacturing. And that's one of the key elements to it, is that we have to stay British manufacturing. We have no intentions to move from British manufacturing because that's the headline.
Literally 100%.
And that's what they buy into. Is they want to clamour up to that level of the Western world, if you like.
Yeah, and that's I mean, like I said, the whole China thing for you is amazed me, and it's a great story. It's a great story on how it's blown up for you. Again, it made it even more special by still been here today. That was a nice touch, almost if you planned it. But no, that's awesome, and the whole kind, like I said, the British manufacturing thing. That's why I reached out to you guys. Yes, I could have got those plates made anywhere, but like now when we're doing export to like you guys handle that, but we've got like Dubai reaching out. We've got America because they want to tell their clients these plates are made in England.
Yeah. The other thing that the venture into the Far East has done for us is made our brand more of a global name. So our clients, they'll have cross-territory offices, etc. But the projects in London, for example, isn't necessarily funded from London or isn't designed from London. It may be designed in the Far East, the Middle East, etc., or wherever. And vice versa, the projects in the Far East or in the Middle East may be designed in London by a design studio. So having that cross-marketing across territories, actually your brand awareness comes a lot higher. And also what that does is that it then raises everybody's in the British manufacturing higher. We're very proud that that we've led that charge, if you like, in that industry, in our industry.
Yeah, absolutely. Pioneered it.
Yeah, exactly.
Pioneered it. We're watching this podcast.
We literally had the DIT come down here to visit us maybe a year into the venture, and the guy was saying, "I can't advise you to do anything else." Literally, there is nothing that I can tell you or advice that I can give you that you haven't done. Or in fact, we'd like to use you as a textbook example. How do we go to other companies and say this?
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I mean, what led on from that then was the DIT then invited me to become an export champion. and they created this kind of network of what they call an export champions around the country to talk to other companies, SMEs, larger companies who want to go on that journey and want to speak to people who've actually done it and been there rather than kind of so-called experts. Unfortunately, they started that program just at the start of COVID. So it kind of, we went online for a little bit. So I've done a couple of seminars online, but now we're kind of hopefully getting back to normal. It will start to kick on.
It is.
Yeah.
And then you'll be famous, and then I'll be coming in and having to ask for autographs before sitting down with you.
You'll see his photo on the tube as you do.
Hopefully not, yeah.
So let's go back and talk about the whole manufacturing process and what happens. I want to know where them raw components, because Well, I know what they're made out of. I'm trying not to give it away.
Yeah.
What it's made out of, how it starts, through to the finishing process, through ready to a box, ready to ship to China or anywhere in the UK, or through to our distribution. So, talk me through it.
Okay, so generally speaking, we work with two types of raw material: stainless steel or brass. Generally comes in sheet form. There are some slight exceptions, but generally comes in sheet form. I'm generalising.
Yeah.
We cut those into blanks. So as you know, a light switch is a certain size, and a socket is a certain size. So those plates are certain sizes. So we blank those out here in this factory here, and then
Punched or pressed?
pressed.
Yeah.
Pressed, yeah.
And then they're shipped down to our main factory, where, as Duncan said earlier, the more intricate presses are that punch the apertures into those blanks. So depending on what the orders are for, we set up a batch for punching the apertures into them. So whether it's a twin socket or a toggle switch or a light switch, and then it follows that process through that factory from the start right the way through to the finishing of those products. So whether it's an antique brass finish or a bronze finish, it's applied in that factory there. Once they're ready to kind of go, then they are brought back up to our other factory over the road from here, where they're then assembled with what we call the inserts, the electrical
the components.
They're assembled there, tested, inspected, put into boxes, dispatched.
Nice.
So it's quite a simple process, but quite complex in the middle of it.
Please don't downplay it, because this is the one thing I'd say with that. And you touched on it there. When you receive the order, it then goes into production.
Yeah.
That right there.
Yeah.
Because Focus isn't an off-the-shelf product.
No.
And the reason for that is because the range you do, but also the finishes you do. These aren't your standard, we've got white plastic, polished chrome or brushed chrome.
Yeah.
You have, in the standard range, off the top of my head, and please do correct me, 12 finishes in the standard range, or is that what we've copied across, or have you got more?
We've actually got more.
There's quite a few more, yeah. So
12 we've taken from our end.
Yeah, 12 finishes and probably 100 different standard products across all finishes. Add into that another maybe 10 different ranges.
Yeah. So by ranges, what you mean by that is you said punch the apertures into it. You've got the Sheraton range, the square, the flat plate.
Yeah.
You've got different visual finishes. And then on top of that, we've then got the finishing, which is the Venetian bronze or the chocolate bronze, the Jordan bronze. Yeah. All the varieties of bronze that everybody's right into at the moment. And then the stainless and everything. And some of the finishes are actually on display there.
Yeah. And when you look at that, a standard catalogue, what we call a standard catalogue, suddenly becomes 10, 15,000 SKUs. And to manage that on a daily basis or even on a yearly basis is quite a challenge. But one of the things we also do here is we have a team in-house that will work with a designer or a client to actually create bespoke products. And then those bespoke products will match into the ranges, etc. But again, that comes down to it's a custom sort of tailored service. But then that has all the setup times and all the custom drawings, design, methods of manufacture, etc., that then have to go in. And that then translates into our production in machine coding and all of those aspects that nobody sees.
Nobody even think about.
Nobody even thinks about.
Literally even think about.
No. And then, of course, one of the most important thing of that is you have to look at the technical safety aspects of the products and that we design. Because every product has electricity in it somewhere. Yeah. You then have to make sure that all that's safe and to correct to standards as well. So it's very, very complex.
I always wondered why sockets were £5 each. That was me thinking I was just getting ripped off. I mean, again, for me, Focus, let's not beat around the bush. It is a premium product. Yeah, it's a premium product. Yeah. We want to be a premium product. Yeah. We go into premium projects, and that's what it is. Yep. It's not off the shelf. It's made in Britain. So the finishes that we've got on there are the more higher end. And you said there you work with designers and specifiers to create something a little bit more bespoke. And again, you work with us and some other smart home brands to actually do custom finishes for their range for them. I know you've just announced a partnership with the Lutra and Alicia range, and literally you've got a range that matches their new Alicia range.
Yeah, even down to a level where we manufacture that product in house from the raw brass, etc. Working very closely with companies like yourself and like them, and one or two others to actually create a product and a product range in cases that it gives the design community the continuity of their projects and what they're looking for. And that doesn't just happen overnight. That's through years of experience of working with these people and the craftsmen involved here at Hastings, at our sites, to actually make that happen.
No, 100%. Again, it's a premium product, recognising a premium product.
Yeah.
And then the beauty is, sat between these two premium products, you've got a designer or specifier who's pulling these two premium products together, and the fact, we've actually got a range, the face for that works with control 4 plates.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we've actually got a socket switch accessory range that matches plates perfectly.
Yeah.
Both ways around, you've got that continuity. At the end of it, you've got a very happy client, very happy interior designer.
Yeah, for us, it's about keeping the brand level and people we partner with at the same level or the same perception level in the marketplace, so that the projects we're actually going in, we're going in with the right people or partnering with the right people to service those clients' needs.
Yeah, I mean, we recognise the fact that we know what our strengths are, and we work to those strengths, but we also recognise that there are people out there who are experts in their field, like yourselves, for instance, and people like manufacturers like Lutron, world leaders in
Global leader in lighting control.
So
They invented lighting control.
why reinvent the wheel?
Yeah.
So we work closely with those guys. I mean, Elise is a good example, really. It's taking it to that next level. So both companies could quite easily have said, okay, we can manufacture our current range of products in a finish that kind of matches your range. But no, what we decided to do was not just match the finish. We actually collaborated and shared information, secret information about finishing that we can match exactly those finishes. And not just that, but now we even match the geometry of their plates. So their plates are thicker than our normal standard plates. It's a special brass that we have to buy in for it. So everything, so that nth level, and you'll know from your business that you've got clients who are here and some clients who are just way up there in terms of what they want. Very, very specific in what they want. And they want everything to match, not just the colour or the finish, but the actual thickness, the geometry, etc.
100%. And that kind of level of detail, most people would never even appreciate.
No.
They wouldn't even know. They wouldn't even know people care that much about those details.
Exactly, yeah.
Believe me, people swear to those tiny details that to most normal people wouldn't care.
No.
But in the markets we work in, they were obsessed on them details.
Yeah.
In fact, we had a chat before, we've just done a project and a Focus SB on it, and it was everywhere, including behind the TVs.
Yeah.
There's 45 outlets in this property that nobody would ever see again.
Yeah.
And that's not even including the ones in the back of cupboards.
Yeah.
They're never going to be seen again.
Yeah.
But that client wants them to be the same throughout the full property.
Yeah. When you're making these collaborations and these projects, you have to look at the materials you use and the composition, the special materials, as Gary said, for certain plates and certain ranges. And that means that we have to look at specialised suppliers. We try to keep everything as local as we can in the UK. But we have to look at specialised suppliers for metals, maybe in Europe. And challenges, even things like Brexit, have caused us a challenge on a level here of importing, and things like the climate change that we're seeing with the imports and how goods are transported through Europe on that side of things has impacted us as a business. And we've had to use our specialised skills to try and source those materials and get them into the factory here for on-time delivery for these people. And that's a real challenge in itself. Again, that is really masked that people don't see of what we actually do behind the scenes.
Literally, even on like raw component on the precious metals and stuff like that. Now we've actually got a client, and he's a commodities dealer.
Yeah,
that is what he does. And I've seen his like wallboards in the office, and he's actually taught me, because I've got interest, like copper prices, things like that. I'm really interested. He's taught me through it, and literally, it is volatile, especially over like when the war in Russia and everything. Russia and Ukraine war was kicking off. That actually had a severe impact on precious metal prices around the world. It literally quadrupled overnight. Literally, bang.
Yeah, we see this in our business, and not only is it impacted by the commodity prices, but then the metal commodity price is priced in dollars, not UK sterling. So the fluctuation in the exchange rates really affect that as well. So you have to sort of start looking at actually where we're sourcing these materials from. How do we get it so it's a sustainable source, but it's a reliable source as well. And then, as our teams here have to look at that and factor that in for, in some cases, individual projects and individual products that we make.
I know, because again, even I would have thought that. I think about a lot of these little things. You're buying brass isn't brass. brass may have a very slightly different property because it's from a different mine.
Yeah.
And how it's been finished
Yeah.
and the machines it's been through in a certain factory, and it may have slightly different properties that you couldn't press 2 batches separately and get the same result.
No.
It's weird. It even goes down to the direction you roll the material and to get it flat.
Yeah.
Affects the properties of that, and that's where we've worked very, very closely with the manufacturers.
In fact, I know how much you guys obsess over details because, funny story, Craig will find this a funny story because the Face 4 brush has been emotional. But in the first 4 brush, when I actually sent you a draft, Duncan, you went, because we had a range and we expanded that range with you, but we didn't have any physical stock of it yet. And wanted to get the brochure finished. Yeah. And we sent you a copy of the brochure, and Craig, very clever guy, but he'd photoshopped it. I've admitted it. If Craig photoshopped it. But again, Craig would have never known. And he sent it across and you went, this isn't one of our products. And you went, why? You went, the brush strokes are in the wrong direction. The brush strokes on the plate are in the wrong direction. And it's that kind of level of detail and concept. It's not just antique bronze with this brush, with this bristles, in this finish. And I know because we had the existing plates that were finished elsewhere and for the Face 4 stuff. So when I bought Face 4, had the plastic made here, the metal was punched out here, the metal then got finished here. When I'm talking here, I'm not talking 200 metres down the road. No. I'm talking shipping around the country, Birmingham, Manchester, here. This is where the existing supply chain was. And when I got it, I went, this is ridiculous. Reached straight out to you guys. We started that journey. Obviously, an existing range, which is in on some existing projects. But some people wanted to match that. Well, Polio's been sat over there, has been going through your range, working with your guys, working with samples, getting bespoke samples that aren't even part of your standard ranges or finishes, trying to match the existing ones to a point where we got it close. But again, it just shows between finishers and finishers. Good luck.
That's very common. I mean, it's a little bit like the advert on TV where somebody rips a bit of material off someone's shirt and gets it matched by someone else and whatever. We get a lot of that type of thing. We get, a light fitting or a door handle or whatever it might be. Can you match that? And I would say 99% of the times we can do it. It's a science and an art in itself.
But that's been built up by years of experience and knowledge. And that ultimately, with something like this, is what you're paying for. We can do it.
What a lot of customers don't appreciate is some of the finishes, though, what we call living finishes. So they will change over time because there's a chemical reaction going on with the material. There's, so some will go lighter,
copper
some will go dark.
Especially is absolutely ruthless for its patina.
Exactly, So you might get a project where a particular finish has been installed for 5 years, and they say, right, we want you to match that. Well, we're matching something that's actually aged 5 years, so that's difficult because then the new one will age at a different rate than the existing one. So, it's a challenge. But as you say,
do you know what? This is again another one of the reasons why I work with you. It's a challenge that you're willing to take on.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because with a lot of manufacturers, you reach out to probably, I'm going to say it, any other socket manufacturer, maybe even as far as globally, and say, listen, I want to match this door handle. We don't make it, mate.
Yeah,
it's as simple as that. We don't make it, mate.
It's not in the catalogue.
It's not in the catalogue. Whereas yours is, oof. Oof. Let me take this challenge on and see what we can do. And engineering team are going, not again.
Well, you're from an engineering background and whatever. You know what the engineer's psyche is. I know what an engineer's psyche is, and I can take a product to our engineers and say, can you do it? And I know the initial reaction is going to be. But I know
they're going to love the challenge.
If I leave it there and walk off, they'll be kind of scratching their heads and thinking, right, that's not going to beat me. I'm going to
100%. And it puts in that kind of laid on the line, special resilience for business. Because you don't. And like yourself, you come from an engineering background and you're a solutions guy. That's it. I'm not about I'm not no man. I'm a yes man. I'll find a way to do it. What was it? Richard Branson said, I'll jump out of the plane and build a parachute on the way down or something. Something like that. So these guys avoided it because they are a very professional business, have the corporate heads on. And as much as everything goes great all the time, guys, there must be a few times where things don't go great or something's gone wrong. Come on, I want to hear a few tales. I want to hear a few uncovered Focus SB tales. God, there isn't any rich, I'm afraid. No, we are perfect. Struggles getting kit from suppliers?
Yeah, we've we've had a number of challenges. Well, obviously, we're in the smart world with chips, as I'm sure you guys are aware.
Oh, yeah.
You wouldn't have thought chips would be a problem in the UK, but they are.
Yeah.
But yeah, we also face challenges because, as I said, speaking earlier, we source material from all sorts of places, different grades of material. Had challenges where we've had riverbeds dry up on us recently. You've probably seen it in the news.
A riverbed dry?
Yeah, riverbed in the Rhine in Germany.
Right.
So they still use barges to ship material down to the ports to then be coming into the UK from the German ports. We've actually had one instance recently where we've ordered a very, very specialised material for a job, and actually they can't ship it because there's no trucks, because they generally used a riverbed along the Rhine to ship it to the port. So that faces challenges, gives us challenges that you'd never expect in the world of materials. That actually the climate change and that sort of agenda then becomes really big on our agenda and flows through. But we see those stories where, do things really get held up at ports in Felixstowe or when they're being shipped? Yes, they are. They're genuinely being held up, and it genuinely affects us on a micro basis here.
Yeah, and all that kind of stuff has a knock-on effect.
Has a knock-on effect, yeah.
Because I suppose with Focus, and we kind of know it, and everything's built in, but because it's not off the shelf, and because you do bespoke products and everything, what is your standard quoted lead time?
It depends. And we're always going to say that. It depends on the finish. It depends on the quantity, volumes. But generally speaking, standard product, 3 weeks. Specials, 12 weeks. It can be up to 12 weeks. Generally not longer than that. Usually when it goes longer than that, it's because of the client change.
Because the riverbed driving up. Sorry, mate. This riverbed strip. Yeah, that's it.
but going back to your original question, that's the key, is having communication with the client, whoever it is that's ordering the product or specifying the product, because we get involved in complex projects and bespoke products, then you need to have that very close working relationship with the client, because one slight misinterpretation and 1,000 plates are pressed out there, and all of a sudden actually that's the wrong way around. And a good example of that is we do a lot of work in hospitality, and as you know, in a bedroom you've got the two bedside tables, and very often you'll have a bespoke plate on the bedside table that's got maybe a twin socket in it, a USB, a light switch. They have to be handed. They have to be left and right-handed. So you have to make sure that you're doing the left and right-handed ones, and they're finished on the right side, and so there's a lot of due diligence that has to go on. Otherwise, you could be losing a lot of money.
A lot of sign-offs, but you've got a good sign-off process.
Yes, yeah, very much so. Okay. So go on.
Yeah, I was going to say a lot of our clients as well, where they have multi-gang plates or plates with special requirements for audio and things like that. We have to look at specific audio connections and connectors and requirements, things like banana plugs, but different types of speaker posts, all to meet their grades. You don't realise
how many different varieties.
But you won't realise that some of them can only be sourced from specific sources, and you're then having to look at their supply chain and the challenges that they face to get the components to make those products. Even things like those products where they're gold plated, or in some cases made from solid gold. The challenges that are faced further down the supply chain, or your supply chain, to get those products into our plates, into the unique requirements. When you go into sort of the hotel, luxury hotel, and they've got all the AV distribution and that side of things, it's all those things that you have to look at and have to interact with the client to get the exact specifications that is vitally important. Yeah.
Just stuff you never know about. Mentioned hospitality a few times then, so is that quite, obviously we know luxury residential. Yep. That's probably the bread and butter. That's the main one. Yep. But you're doing a lot in hospitality sector as well.
Yeah, we do a lot of luxury hospitality projects throughout the UK and throughout the world in different areas, in the Middle East and China, as we went into earlier. But we get involved with a lot of heritage projects for the hospitality. So the long-standing hotels where everything is just so, and everything has to be just to a finish or fit into a specific period or style of property. And that's where we really come into our own, working with those where we can make custom plates and custom finishes, and working with certain limitations that other companies we just buy off the shelf can't do, and where the tailor-made service that we offer comes to its own, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, a few years ago we did only a very, very small addition to some work we'd already done at Windsor Castle.
Yeah.
Name drop, yeah.
Windsor Castle. Yeah.
I mean that's a good example of a heritage building. So moving slightly away from hospitality, heritage buildings have been there for a long time by the very fact they're heritage buildings, and they've got back boxes already fitted in the wall with products fitted to them. The last thing they want to do is start chopping out new back boxes and wall
custom, like not even just your standard 1-gang, 2-gang sockets.
No, that's right.
This is a 1-gang socket using a back box from 1912.
Exactly,
Exactly, yeah.
And the wall covering could be listed, so they can't actually touch it. Yeah. So we go along, we measure up, and we make plates to fit the existing wall boxes. So there's no worry, no stress from their point of view in having to chop out wall boxes that they really don't want to be doing.
You just never even think of that, would you? I'm sure you do on a daily basis, but literally I want. And again, that's just what the challenges that you're geared up to just tackle.
Absolutely, yeah.
What about finishes? Obviously, bronze and brass is still there. What about the roped brass? Is that still a thing? You still seeing a demand for that, or has that finally died a death?
It's still a thing. When you go into heritage
products. That's what's just triggered it. Yeah.
No, it really is. And when you see sort of finishes like that, they're not generically your day-to-day business, but you'll get a very specialised project that sometimes can be quite a large project, maybe a hotel refurbishment or a large stately home or something like that. A very, very, very niche hospitality project. That takes a large number of those plates and a large number of those products. And sometimes you think, am I ever going to use this tool to produce this again?
Yeah,
and suddenly you're punching it for the next 6 months in that design.
Literally, go back at Storeroom and get the rope punch out.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah,
so you look, that's again something I've learned amongst it. Like I said, for face 4 is a faceplate with an attachment on the back to allow it to connect on the control 4 plate. It's a couple of components stuck together. But throughout that's been a 2-year journey to get to this point. But throughout that journey, I've learned a whole new respect for manufacturers, people that are doing what you guys do, and even that things like to how it's literally pressed out, or even the plastic injected mold it needs on the back. Now you think, I just need a new mold. Nah, it's a new press. No, to get that tooling made before you've even punched a socket, that is expensive in itself. Literally, just the tooling.
It is expensive. I mean, I guess we're fortunate because we've got and you'll see it when you film the manufacturing facility down the road. There's a section in there that is what we call our engineering section, which is effectively a bunch of guys who are trained tool makers. So we've got the in-house capability.
Oh, you make the tools in-house?
We can make our own tools. We maintain our own tools. We can even make the machines that the tools go onto, or we can adapt those machines to special purpose machines for our specific purposes. And again, we'll kind of show you.
I'm looking forward to seeing it. In fact, I think I seen something on LinkedIn recently. You've just invested heavily in a new piece of kit, haven't you?
Yeah, we have.
We have, yes. Yes.
And to be fair, again, you'll see it when you go in there. It's a real kind of a contrast. You could walk in there, and there could be a guy standing at a vise, literally filing a piece of metal. Right, so that's one extreme. To a robot cell that's polishing light switch caps. So there's a very much a contrast. From our point of view, it's about getting the right balance because you obviously want to retain the skills,
engineering skills,
the handcrafted skills, but by the same token, there are certain functions that it's just not efficient for a human to do, and it's boring.
Repetitive strain injury.
Yeah, exactly.
You're looking after the health and safety of these people, but no, it's finding that balance.
It is, yeah.
So, because again, it could go 2 ways, and which I'm sure you're very much aware of. Where one machine, my engineers turn the fucking machine off. Turn the machine. Let me just redo that. It's definitely just turn the machine off. Turn the machine off. It's
yeah.
Probably like what They're like in Tesco's when all these self-checkout machines start popping up.
Yeah.
I think is you don't, even with bringing in the automation and Industry 4.0, you don't actually lose the skill. You just use the skill in a different way, because those machines still need the skilled operators to work, and they still need the knowledge and experience of how to run. They
Still need maintaining.
Still need maintaining.
Probably more so. More so than just a mechanical press, all electronics on top of them. Is it bringing in an even further skill set again?
Yeah, and all they allow you to do essentially is just run for longer, run your factory for longer, make you more efficient in that process. But you still have to retain those core skills to be able to operate them and to be able to design. So
our latest acquisition that you mentioned there is a CNC machine, which is an upgraded version of the CNC machines we've already got in the factory, but the additional cobot that then feeds that machine, so picks up the plates, places them on the nest, takes them off when they've been punched, puts them back in a separate nest, and then that allows us to increase our capacity, because in theory that machine can then work either lights out or weekends, and it doesn't need an operator there to look after it, and that kind of, I guess that's a nice segue into sustainability, and more by I'd like to say we had the foresight just over 12 months ago, but just over 12 months ago, we contacted a company who specialise in solar energy, solar panels.
So this on LinkedIn as well. So again, I'll mention this. I said the whole social thing, and we know the stuff about you. Just this on LinkedIn, but the solar company. Yeah.
So we contacted them and said, look, we'd like to put solar panels on the roof of the main factory. Fine, no problem. It took effectively 12 months from that point to get the panels on the roof commissioned and working. So June of this year, just gone, was the first time we switched those on. That then allows us not only to
Sorry, great timing.
Well,
just the hottest summer on record.
Well, that hottest summer on record, and all the energy prices hiking up absolutely through the roof.
And that's what
I'd
like to say. We kind of knew what was coming, but we didn't.
Yeah.
But it just felt like the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of talk about net zero and carbon footprints, etc. We're very conscious of that, and we do what we think is the right thing to do. Whether it ticks a box or not, we're not interested. What we're interested in is doing the right thing, and doing that, having that project has worked out a lot better for us in that respect. Yeah. But we've done lots of other things: LED lighting throughout the factory, destratification fans to bring the heat in the winter, the heat that rises back down onto the shop floor to heat the shop floor. Right. All of our company vehicles are either hybrid or electric. We've got electric EV chargers on our car park. So we're trying to do the right things, and that whole kind of move to net zero is something that's very much on our agenda at the moment.
Yeah, and following on from that, the engineering principles are zero waste. So you'll see in the factory later that all the waste is recycled.
I've already clocked it here as well. One of the other British manufacturers there clocked it as well. Like, obviously you're punching, you're not using 100% of that sheet. Yep. I'm sure you're going to design it so using as much as is possible, but there is naturally going to be bits of waste. Yeah. So then obviously, because again, the recycle value on that will still be a healthy value. Yeah. Plus obviously recycling around and scrapping it, but naturally.
Yeah, but it's circular. In a lot of cases here, it's going back with the metal. It's going back to the supplier to then be reused in the same sheet that we're then
remelted back down, rolled into another sheet, and ship back to you.
Yeah, it's actually, you're taking the scarce materials in some cases that they are, with some of the precious materials we use, and you're actually making your supply chain more secure because you're using the same material again.
Same with the packaging. We redesigned all of our packaging recently to be totally recyclable, including the labels, etc., etc. So again, we're kind of doing our
packaging. Was that impressive? We then nicked it for our own. These boxes are nice, lads. Where are these from? We'll have some. Yeah, we just finish all ours in those as well, please. Yeah, no, great package. Well, I'm looking forward to go seeing the factory. I've mentioned the factory a lot of times now, so I'm going to call time on this podcast and say thank you very much. I'm conscious of the time and how much I've got to see over there. So, boys, thank you both very much for your time today and for giving everybody a little bit of a deeper insight into Focus SB.
Brilliant.
Let's go see a factory.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you, guys.